foreign countries doing vulgar content risk being deported back. And this is something which we are seeing as a development. And I do understand that all this is also coming at a time. We have been seeing issues of vulgar music rising in the country, but now to also really stop this behavior that is currently on the rise, recently we did see Uganda Communications Commission banning content of two musicians in Uganda, Gravito Mutuju and also really the colleague Lil Pazo in there. They have also really been recently also really summoned, and that is something which we did see. But now Uganda Communications Commission, the regulatory authority for telecommunications, also broadcasting and infrastructure services in Uganda, has vowed to deport and extradite also really international artists involved in vulgar content. And this is something which we are receiving as a new development. And what does this mean? Do you think this will in one way or the other address the concern of vulgarity in music industry? Because today we hear of songs that your ears may not want to listen, but your children are currently singing them, and this is something which many parents, many stakeholders as well have not been happy about. But now, according to the UCC Executive Director, that is Honorable Mr. Nyombi Henry Tembo, sorry, there is need to protect the Ugandan audiences, particularly children, from explicit content. And this is what I really want to agree with the UCC director in there. And this is something which we feel many people should also really embrace as well, because if you look at music that is vulgar, is in most cases sung by the children, who at the end of the day also end up practicing what they say, or maybe here in this music, maybe music that is a bit vulgar in there. And that is one thing also which we feel as parents, as stakeholders, we must be able to sort of support and end in this country. And now the director also further maintained that the commission decision to ban vulgar content from local musicians, that's Yasin Mukasa, also known as Lil Pazo, and Jerison Wabui, who is also known musically as Gravito Mutuju, will continue. And he, however, emphasized that the ban will only affect songs with explicit content, including Nkudi. We have those and Okwe Picha. These are songs, of course, which have been in the society, and many people have been talking about these songs. Songs like Okwe Picha and Nkudi have also really been, most especially, very common in Buganda sub-region in there. But now the crackdown on vulgar content has sparked debate over freedom of expression. But how do you express yourself in a content that is vulgar? Should we say this is also infringing on their rights, given the fact that we know this content is really vulgar to our society? And now you see how they maintain that promoting such material violates Ugandan laws and undermines the country's cultural integrity, and we risk losing our culture if at all we allow such issues to continue happening. Now, Mr. Tembo has said we are going to put up a system that where it may take 3 hours for complying applicant to also obtain permits. I call upon other stakeholders to join us also in this cause by supporting our efforts and reporting cases of violation. And that is what exactly we are going to be also seeing. That means for now, these songs I was able to mention would not be required to play on any media outlet. We would not also expect to see these songs anywhere. And this is as per the new developments also coming out from Uganda Communications Commission. Now the state plays and Public Entertainment Act, that is Cap 49, under Regulation 6, subsection 1, states that the person shall not, without a permit also really issued by commission, stage or exhibit a play or public entertainment. Now it further intensified efforts of broadcasters of offensive content shall be attract regulatory sanctions, including possible prosecution, revocation of license, and blacklisting of media houses. That means if at all your media house is going to be also maybe printing, also running such content, then definitely they risk some of those measures I was able to also mention to you. Now, leaving that discussion aside, looking at the monitor, we are seeing drama as man storms in-laws' home, demands dowry refund. This is another story which we are seeing happening on the morning past morning, that there was drama in Chisoga village, that's Nazigo sub-county in Kayunga district, after the 35-year-old man stormed the home of the in-laws demanding for the refund of dowry. Is it not time? Because sometimes we see the women getting married for 3 months, the marriage is normal, but the dowry has been paid. I really think this move is what we must also be able to preach. And we must therefore also push for this. Now we did see Mr. Dad Lugolobi, but about the right that Kayunga Town Council, that's Kayunga District, married Sophie Nakafero in an Islamic ceremony. That was called, what we usually call Nikah, in September 2024. And during the ceremony held at the home of Miss Nakafero's mother, that's Faima Namkwang in Chisoga village, Daddy gifted also his in-laws a water tank, a sofa set, clothes, 6 bags of sugar, rice, soft drinks, and many others, all valued at 15 million. But the marriage didn't last. If you look at September, we are now in December. That means the marriage is less than 5 months. It's also ending. Now the couple spent barely 2 months together before they developed domestic brawl, and we are seeing also that is also what exactly caused the problem. And Ms. Nakafero also really accused the husband of failing to refund 75 million. She advanced him also really, that is also really as a loan necessity and failed to provide all necessities to her. That is what exactly led to the breakup of the two. But this is something which we feel people should be able to sort of learn, maybe learn from. Marriages are meant to be forever. Many times I share these thoughts solely with some people who are not married. We always say marriage is meant to be forever. Marriage is not maybe a home of bed of roses, but we shall have issues, whether we like it or not. But how do we resolve these issues internally is what matters. Before these matters come out, maybe are leading to breakup. How do we, first of all, address and deal with these issues is what really matters. And at the end of the day, if we start engaging in practices that will also really, at the end of the day, make us live peacefully, then that would be quite good. And the bottom man, in the names of Mr. Lokolobi, I say he borrowed money to also used to sort of buy the gifts, and urged that he was not willing to lose everything after Nakafero threw in the towel. And that is something which we are seeing happen today. Many people get married for a short period of time. We see them breaking up, going for another marriage. What is exactly causing this, and how can we be able to sort of address all these matters is what we must also be able to advocate for. And this is how, at the end of the day, we shall be seeing these families also having a peaceful life together. And this is why it is also very much important for us to also make sure that at the end of the day we address those issues. And this is one issue and one initiative we must be able to sort of advocate for. Now the following day, Lugolobi took the matter to Caroline's uncle, that is Kafero, the district protection and social welfare officer, to help her get back dowry. And this is exactly what we are seeing. And he is demanding his 15 million that he used for buying those gifts. Is it right? And this goes to men. Is it right for the women that we marry and after a short period of time they break up with us? Could we also maybe push for this? And women, is it right for the men that you marry and then at the end of the day the marriage fails to work? We demand for bride price. What about those who are involved in what we call breakaways? How do we also do this? And that is why we must always condemn divorce, and that is why Islam looks at divorce as a last option. And just like Islam, other religions as well condemn this, because at the end of the day it leads to family disintegration, and that is why we must always also fight this vice, and we must say no to it, because if you cannot see it, then at the end of the day many families are going to be affected by this vice, and that will not be quite well. And that is why we are saying issues of family breakaways should not happen, because at the end of the day this leaves the children vulnerable in the hands of maybe children, and that's why we're leaving that discussion aside. And yesterday we had a number of activities. I was able to also have a meeting also with what we call the ethnic minority groups in Western sub-region, and you read the number of this group is a bit huge, but no one talks about them. If you talk about minority, just like the word minority ethnic groups, then you have just like that. Their numbers are also said. We have the Lendu, we have the Kebu, we have the Nubi, the Gimara, and others who are in Western sub-region, but no one talks about these tribes. How do we maybe push out for these people's rights? Because they continue pursuit for their rights to be heard. And many of times they also decry discrimination in some of the opportunities, and at the end of the day, which has not been very much well. And did you even know about these minority tribes? We have the Lendu, we have the Kebu, who are in most areas of Zombo, and we do have the Nubians who are in Arua City. We have the Gimara and Obongi, and many others who are settled across also the entire Western sub-region, but no one talks about them. How do we push out for the rights of these minority ethnic groups that are currently in the Western sub-region? How do we also maybe amplify their voices? This is what we must all join hands to also preach for, because they are decrying discrimination. That is, first of all, opportunities. For instance, in the employment sector, many times they say, if you are not from this tribe, sometimes it becomes very much hard for you to be employed, because their rights deserve to be heard. And that is why we are saying they must also really start by themselves. Because they are saying nothing for us without us, and they must therefore also start the campaign of ensuring that their voices are heard. And that would at the end of the day be a very good plus for them. And that is how we also intend to amplify their voices as we get to move on with the show, where we shall be giving you a lot of the issues that continue to make rounds in the country. But for now, we are taking this short commercial break that brings us back, where we shall be looking at how NRM climaxed their digitization process in Western Sub-Region. And I really want to assure you it came out with a lot of issues, where we had a number of young people committing to support the party ahead of the 2026 general elections. And that is how we did see it at Mvara Senior Secondary School, where the activity was officially closed. For now, we take a short commercial break. When we get back, the discussion will be following, and I will be letting you know of other stories nationally. And you, as the viewer, still can be part of the discussions by sharing your thoughts, sharing your opinions. I will be taking through and share it with the rest of the viewer out there. And that is how we shall be continuing to enlighten the region, because I am not going to be doing that alone as Western TV. But of course, you as the viewers can still play a great part in ensuring this. For now, we take a short commercial break, and we get back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Look out for StarTimes Solar to unwrap your lighting and entertainment experience this Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
At only 700 shillings daily charge, get yourself a StarTimes S50 that comes with lighting, phone charging, strong lithium battery, radio with a flash port and a Bluetooth speaker. For more entertainment needs, get yourself a StarTimes S130 that comes with an extra 32-inch TV screen and 2 years free StarTimes subscription. StarTimes Solar, more than just solar.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are back with the discussions, and now starting off this hour of the show, we just a few minutes, that is to end up with the show for today, and still looking at something on papers, and this is on the Nile Post, where we did see President 7 directing leaders to document Paris Development Model beneficiaries. And if you look at the Paris Development Model, what we call the PDM today, many possibly have had negative thoughts about this government program that is meant for poverty education simply because of irregularities. And now President 7 has directed for the beneficiaries to be also documented, and this is really something which I feel is a good gesture to eliminating some of those issues, most especially the scandals that have been associated with the Paris Development Model. And now President 7 has challenged leaders, especially chairpersons at different levels and sub-county chiefs also to document the beneficiaries of Paris Development Model, where the government also track the effectiveness of implementing the program. And remember, this is the program that is meant for also getting the people, most especially the vulnerable members in the society, out of poverty. But today we also have heard stories that the real poor are not getting this money. These are issues that we cannot getting out of the poor who are within our society, saying issues of bribe. Recently I was in Kenya Ward. These issues very much surfaced. And you realize solely indeed these issues could not exist because people were able to ask them, I did not get this money and I'm yet vulnerable, and you ask for a lot of money from this. You in exchange ask for this and that. So all these issues, I feel at the end of the day, deserve to be heard, and that is why the President's call of documenting all the beneficiaries is really something which I feel is timely, and something therefore we must also really support and advocate towards. Because if we do not ensure that this happens, then at the end of the day, many people also are going to be left out. Now the President also made the remarks on Tuesday, the 17th day of December, that's at Busituma, one village, that's Makenya Parish, in Makenya sub-county, that is in Butiru County, Manafwa district. Remember, the President currently has been traversing the country on issues of Paris Development Model assessment and to assess how maybe this program is doing. Recently he was in Karamoja, and recently I was able to see him in Sebei, and still continues with also really this now where he is in Bugis sub-region, because if you look at Manafwa, this is in Bugis sub-region, and still continues with the tour to also assess the impact of, that is the Paris Development Model. Now according to the President, who is also in the Bugis sub-region in continuation of his PDM performance assessment tour, says documenting beneficiaries will strengthen the integrity and the impact of the PDM, ensuring that it fulfills its mission of fostering inclusive economic growth and poverty reduction at the parish level. And this is something which we feel is as well very much important for us to be advocating for. And on October 15th of 2003, that Mr. Namukoko received shillings 1 million, that is only through the PDM, where he withdrew 909,000 after the bank charges, which he used also really to purchase a heifer at shillings 7,000 and 2 pigs each at 100,000. Today, Mr. Namukoko is among the farmers who informed the President that his project is doing well, but he moved some areas. You ask, what did you do with the PDM money? People can hardly explain. I was recently in Tarego district. I was in Maracha and in Narua city as well. The impact of this project, I really want to say, is not that vivid on ground. We must also make sure that financial literacy is given to our people before they get the money, because many of times our people have gotten this money, they have used the money for buying maybe mattresses, others have used the money for buying speakers, others have used the money for marrying, because today we hear their children now being called the PDM. Now they are mama PDMs in the society, because after getting 1 million, somebody becomes rich in 2 weeks and gets a woman, and that is how at the end of the day we are having children known as PDM. So I think it all goes back to the issue of financial literacy, and where people have to be taught about how to spend these monies, and people have to be reminded that this is a government money. It is not something that you are going to be eating, because the mindset and the perception has always been that this is campaign money, which is not the case, and that means sensitizing our people about this money before they get the money is really what we must also really undertake in there. And that is one thing which we did see, and today you have many people who have gotten this money and hardly explain what they used with this money for, and at the end of the day it becomes very, very much challenging. And leaving that discussion aside, yesterday we also did see NRM climaxing the digitization process of its online registrar, and this is something which we did see climaxing at Mvara Senior Secondary School, where the two camps which we have been having in Western Sub-Region, that is Kawoko and the Rural City, climaxing the exercise, where they have been taking the list and digitizing its process of having all the members of NRM digitized, and I was able to interact, that is with Hajat Nahamadino Jale, the Finance Administration Secretary, that is for the NRM in there, and she was able to explain that this process is to ensure effective and transparent elections, and this is what the party, I think at the end of the day, it will also be able to identify how many members they have, and also to include new members on their registrar. That is something which we did see happening. And remember, this exercise was supposed to take place for about 20 days, but in a rural city, we are able to see this for taking only 18 days, as opposed to the 21, which was initially planned. That means they were able to do all this work within a specific period of time. And this is also something which many people said has been moving on well, without any challenges, and that is how we also have been following up on that. And we hope at the end of the day that this also will be yielding fruits and will be also bringing maybe the kind of fair and free election that we also are looking forward to as we get to move on. And that is one thing which we feel at the end of the day will be quite well for us to sort of be able to advocate for. Now the government is looking for capitulation of on the growing trend of parents seeking DNA tests, and remember today issues of DNA are very much common in society today. Many people have been asking about issues of DNA, and today you see children resembling that of neighbors. That means issues of immorality today are very much common in our families, and that is why many families today opt to take their women and children for DNA tests, which in most cases sometimes turns out negative, and this is exactly why the demand is said to be on the rise, and now government is said to be earning more than 500 million in DNA tests. That is in every 3 months. That is also a huge amount of money, but many people may not also be in position to afford what we call the DNA test. But today we are seeing the demand on the rise, and that is why recently government came up with the relation to also limit also this, because many families were having issues. Out of 5 children, you have 2 are not yours. That is what exactly we are seeing in families today. But what causes this? And what has been the major cause of this? Because this is something that wasn't in there, but today we are seeing issues of DNA. And somebody was able to ask, is DNA doing more justice than harm? That is where entirely it is in your hands. You can either say to your side it is doing well, but for those whose families have been broken, then definitely they know why DNA is not good. But it all goes back to now poverty, teenage pregnancies, threatened education system. In another story that we are seeing on the morning pass, where data from the Ministry of Education and Sports revealed that thousands of children in Uganda excluded from the education system simply because of challenges of including poverty, teenage pregnancies, and early marriages, and poor living conditions, among others, making it also very much difficult for them to continue pursuing education. Now, Mr. David Adair, the Yam District Education Officer, said although 91% of school-age-going children enrolled in primary 1, only 51% complete the primary school cycle, which is something which we must also really be worried of, because this is something which at the end of the day will leave the region behind. And if you look at the northern region, we must continuously advocate for one end, that is against early marriages. Today we are seeing our girls getting married as early as 16 years, as early as 17 years, as early as 18 years. And the boys are also getting married as early as 18. So I think it's also something which we must advocate for and ensure that there is an end to this, because today we have grandmothers who are at the age of 30s. Really, it's embarrassing and it's really difficult for us to sort of take on. That means the world is really going astray, and that means we must also really do something to make sure this does not end. And at the end of the day, that would be quite well. Leaving the discussion aside, Heart East unveils shilling 7 billion catheterization lab. Another story we're seeing in the morning paper, and this is on the Monitor, where Uganda Heart Institute on Tuesday unveiled a catheterization laboratory, specialized heart theater, which minimally also invasive procedures are performed to diagnose and treat conditions of the heart and blood vessels. Now, Dr. Jane Ruther Cheng, the Minister for Health, commissioned the 7 billion state-of-art new cath lab, which was also funded by the government, and she applauded the government and the management of the facility for the dedication and insistence to advance heart care. And today, heart disease is really a great concern which many people could be going through, and that means we must also be able to advocate and appreciate government where something is being done in that good nature, and that is one thing also at the end of the day we also really have to continuously advocate for, and that is one thing which at the end of the day would be very well. And that is where we're going to be leaving the discussion aside and look at other stories happening elsewhere. Remember, it being a morning, so many things going to happen in the country, but of course in the world of sports as well, as we are just counting down a few minutes to the end of the show. So many things going to happen in the world of sports. And yesterday night we had also really a big night. That is for our Ugandan player in the names of Omedi, who is attached to Kitara Football Club, who was also beaten. That's at the Puskas Awards, and more details. That will be coming through. That is on the whistle time with Owen Ezaga, and then Susie will be here from 2 to 3 p.m. where they will be giving that comprehensive and detailed analysis of what continues to make round that's in the world of sports. And they will be here. That is from 2 to 3 p.m. And then we also really had a number of games as well, right from the 4 big league, regional leagues. And I really want to show you, as we're getting close to the weekend, we shall be having the Shea Nut Conservation Tournament. That is in Yumbe District, which is being played by teams around Yumbe District and surrounding areas, also really climaxing, and that is where we shall be giving a detail and also really follow up on how these games, of course, are ending. And remember, these games are organized towards also the conservation of the Shea Nut tree, which is already facing disintegration, because if you look at these trees, due to the high demand, it is facing extinction. That means if we do not also draw efforts to make sure that we conserve it now, then at the end of the day we risk losing these tree species, because in most areas people think and people have the perception that its charcoal is the best, and that is why the charcoal is finding itself today in the Middle East. We have stories that the charcoal also is going as far as Europe. So I think it's also very much important for us to solely join hands and end this, and that is how at the end of the day we shall be seeing this ending, and maybe the vice of cutting down these trees for charcoal and other commercial purposes would also not be there to go on. And that is where we're going to be also posing the discussion. Remember, this is the KOKOLIRIKO live show that comes always every Mondays to Fridays, right from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock with me, Farish Majid, here on West Nile TV, where we're live on Startimes, Azam and Zuku as well. And that means to you as the viewer who is worried, maybe of leaving a decoder, and maybe you're trying to move out of the country and worried that you will miss out watching West Nile TV. The beauty is that we are always online. You can't be in position to watch us on YouTube, on Facebook, where we are always lively. That is from mornings up to sunset, with many programs solely aligned for you as the viewer to be part of. And up next, just after here, we shall be having the Eola's news bulletin with Feta Manuel. And for that, for those who speak Liberty, I really want to ask you to be part of the news bulletin that Feta will be coming through with. And remember, we are still in for the festive season. The days are running down, and I was able to also see security issuing stringent measures that will be also guiding towards this festive season, because if you look at the festive season, today many issues are going to be happening, issues of accidents, theft, and among other issues, for instance, domestic violence, which other cases of gender-based violence, which may all arise within this period. But all in all, what we are saying is that let's join hands and enjoy these days together to make sure that issues of violence not happen. And with that, we come to the end of the show. Up next is the news bulletin with Fete Manuel, and other programs, of course, will be following as planned. I'm out. Until tomorrow, have a good day.